Okay, so the topic of the video today is, are Dobermans compatible with other dogs? Smaller dogs, medium-sized dogs, large dogs, and dogs from any breed you could possibly put a name to. Now, the simple answer would be yes, they are. Now, the caveat to that answer is it all depends on how you raise them up. So when I did get him, he was 7 weeks old, and unfortunately I can't really show you current video. I used to have a Pomeranian as well, but she has passed away. But usually when I do go on walks, they are together, and it's completely fine. Now, the Pomeranian was probably 2 times the size of a hand. And yeah, when I did end up getting him, he was around 7 weeks, and she was probably, I would say, 5 years old. Now, going back to answering the question, it all depends on how you raise them. So when he's a puppy, he's literally around another dog, and not only is he around another dog, but I socialized him on a daily basis. Different people, different dogs, different environments, small dogs, big dogs, large dogs, you know, whether it's at the beach or at another dog park, in the forest, in the sand dunes. It's, you know, all irrelevant. Now, these are situations where he has been exposed to other dogs, which is very, very important, especially with a Doberman. Now, the problem is, if you do have a Doberman and for whatever reason, whether it's being complacent, lazy, you know, whatever, if you don't socialize your dog, or if you don't walk them often, and if they don't have that interaction, then there's going to be a problem. Now, going back again with him, he was around another dog, literally a tenth of his size constantly. And then when we used to go out, he used to see other dogs. And I'll include a video of him and my Pomeranian literally eating an entire chicken side by side. Now, both of them are desexed as well, and I'll probably make another video in the future on if you should desex your dog, and are dogs inherently dangerous or more aggressive because they have, you know, their organs still intact, if you want to call it. But yeah, it just, you know, the most important thing you have to remember is it's crucial to socialize your dog. And if you socialize your dog with other dogs, then it becomes a normal routine. And that's what you want, a normal routine. If you don't do that, then when they do encounter another dog or even a person, then there might be some room for trouble. And the last thing you want is for your dog to get into an incident and be the instigator, because then you're liable. And when you're liable, that can include fines and having your dog seized or put down, which, looking at this majestic piece of creature, it's the last thing you want to happen. Isn't that right, Achilles? So yeah, you know, it's really simple. It does apply to literally every dog. You know, of course there are inherent traits with certain species. So some species are more inclined to behave in certain ways. You know, there are certain dogs that have been specifically bred for, you know, fighting purposes. But with the Doberman, they're really docile, especially with him. He literally runs away from smaller dogs who try and chase him, and he's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times the size of them. But it all comes down really to how you raise them. And like I said before, Dobermans, you know, they're classified as personal protection dogs, but they don't really have problems with other dogs. The only thing I would say is they say never to have either 2 male Dobermans or 2 female Dobermans. I keep forgetting, even if they're literally from the same litter, there can be problems. But you know, if they're the opposite sex and you have 2 different dogs, and especially if you raise them from a puppy and have them interacting with other dogs, you won't have a problem. Another thing I want to add is during socialization, especially when they are during their younger years or puppies. For example, when he was a puppy, I remember the first time we took him to a dog park, he was so intimidated. He was literally in the corner cowering. Now, it took a few times for him to get comfortable and move around, but in that situation, hypothetically, if you did raise a dog without that interaction, that intimidation would turn to violence or him lashing out, and that just, you know, a normal natural instinct. That's something you don't want to do. You want to expose him to all the types of environments. Now, you just want to remember that when you do take him to socialize, unfortunately there are going to be times or certain dogs, you know, careless, irresponsible owners, or just, you know, dogs for whatever reason that do tend to lash out. You really want to make sure that, especially when they're puppies, you don't encounter a situation where another dog, you know, attacks or lashes out at your puppy or young teenager / young adult. If that does happen, you know, I have met other Dobermans where they have been exposed to those environments, and from that stage on, any dog they literally come across or interactions, they'll lash out, period. So all of this that you see him doing right now would not be possible, because eventually, unless you live in the middle of nowhere or Antarctica, you're eventually going to come across someone. So you won't be able to take your dog off a leash and enjoy that. So it's very important you do remember that. Also, like I said in the previous video, it's very difficult to exercise your dog without him being on the leash. Other points I want to add is they are, with him anyways, he does tend to be somewhat clumsy and he runs very fast. So when we did have our Pomeranian, it took a while for him to get used to his bearings, but he would literally fly by her, and eventually she did remember to, or learn to stay still. But they are very fast, and you know, they literally bounce from the walls and the ceiling, so it's something you want to remember. But in normal situations, they're completely fine with other dogs. You know, some dogs do have problems in general with, you know, socializing with other dogs, but Dobermans inherently, they don't have that. Just remember to socialize and keep them away from dangerous situations and you'll be fine. And to end the video off, I'll include some clips of the mighty, majestic Doberman. Hopefully the walking isn't too bad, or the puffing, but enjoy. one of the reasons I did end up getting a Doberman, or well, two of the general reasons, criteria that I have for getting a dog is, number one, they have to meet a certain aesthetic appearance, which I think personally the Doberman is easily on the top five. I would say, probably even say number one. I don't know any other dog that looks better. And number two is they fall under the category of being, you know, canines, guard dogs, personal protection, etc. I definitely wouldn't want to be on the other side of the door when you know, there's a Doberman, especially hypothetically if I was breaking into a house and there was this black beast staring against me. It'll definitely make me consider my life choices, but obviously, thankfully, I'm not. Munchies. I'll get other people's. The tan's also black and tan's a great color. You can get brown and tan. Those are two options. Albino or white Dobermans are not good health-wise. So if you do see a Doberman that's white, they might look cool, but they have a lot of problems, and Dobermans already are plagued because of their heart, DCM and all that crap. So it's something else you have to be aware of, but I like to think that's the price they pay for their glory. Still doesn't change my mind. Doberman's definitely top dog.